Viewet Chilwana.
I'm Labika Rawood. For more information on the work that we do and how you can help us to help others, please visit our website www.secondchances.org.za.
In Junior Achievement South Africa, its focus is really to expose youngsters within high school and out of school to entrepreneurial thinking, and ours is focused at high school from grade 10 to 12.
I'm very big on youth empowerment and making a difference and touching lives and impacting the lives of our young people. That's practically what I do with my foundation as well, and ever since I was crowned as Miss SA.
The goal of the magazine is to basically share information that will be able to assist small business owners.
You're listening to The Social Show with Viewet Chilwana
And Labika Rawood, live on brandlive.co.za.
Welcome everybody to The Social Show with myself, Viewet. Unfortunately, I don't know why we still say Labika. I think everybody in the studio still misses her, so we still kind of have her voice playing over the intro shot, but that will change very soon. I hope you're all having a beautiful Wednesday. It is amazing weather. It's a Wednesday. It's halfway through the week, so push through. I think we have 2 more days till weekend, and if you know me, you know that I really, really enjoy the weekend. I just really enjoy being at home, staying in, and just finding out what it is that you need to know in the following week. So rest assured that on weekends, I'm not just sitting and, playing with my toes. I'm actually finding out the right things that I think should be said on the show and should be spoken about on the social show. And remember, we tackle CSI and CSR news in South Africa. But more than that, we also look at the NGO, NPO sector. We also look at policies. We look at a lot of different things. The youth, innovators, entrepreneurs, you name it. We are about empowering, but we're also about informing and investigating what is happening to uplift communities. So without any further ado, I'm going to start off the show as usual with the news. Gumtree South Africa has taken the decision to prohibit all advertisements for live donkeys and donkey hides on the site. This has been implemented following a recent investigation and feature by Carte Blanche exposing the poor transport and cruel slaughtering conditions of the donkeys. The hides are being used to produce Chinese LGO that is falsely believed to have medicinal value. According to Gumtree spokesperson Claire Korbeldick, the company was made aware of the issue by both the SPCA and Ban Animal Trading, and a decision had to happen. While there are many reputable farmers who trade in donkey hides and live animals, Claire says they decided that extreme measures would be necessary to prevent further unsavory practices. Gumtree immediately banned the sale of donkey hides after the expose aired on the 29th of January and extended the ban further. According to a letter distributed by Ban Animal Trading, animal welfare organizations in South Africa are regularly receiving reports of donkeys slaughtered in rural areas for their skins. And the National Council of Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals states that donkeys are being rounded up, stolen and transported and brutally slaughtered for their skins. Even before the slaughtering, these donkeys are subjected to terrible living conditions as well as horrific transportation situations. Gumtree has significantly restricted the sale of animals on the platform over the last 12 months, including the banning of sale of primates, sugar gliders, African greys, teacup piglets, hedgehogs, and dogs deemed vulnerable for use in dog fighting. In other news, the 2017 Tusk Conservation Awards, established in partnership with Investec Asset Management, are for the first time to be held in South Africa, also a first for the continent. The awards, first established in 2013 with the support of Prince William, aims to recognize the exceptional work undertaken by some of Africa's unsung heroes of conservation. Previous winners of the prestigious Prince William Award have included conservationists such as Clive Stockkill from Zimbabwe, Richard Bonham from Kenya, Garth Owen Smith from Namibia, and John Kahekwa from the DRC. And in 2016, Sir David Attenborough was presented with a special award in recognition of his immense contribution to the natural world. Last year also saw Kathy Dreyer win the prestigious Tusk Award for Conservation in Africa. She was not only the first woman, but also the first South African to receive this accolade. this accolade rather. And that concludes the Tusk Awards. Hopefully you will be able to go or find out a little bit more on their website. Lastly, the University of South Africa, UNISA, made former President Thabo Mbeki's appointment as its Chancellor official as of Monday in a ceremony that was attended by one-time political nemesis Vlade Nzimande. Mbeki, who was forced out of office before his second term ended, was UNISA's pick because his values aligned with the university's vision to create an institution that espoused African knowledge systems. This also comes at a time when students have called for decolonized education. Mbeki, who pushed for an African Renaissance during his tenure as president, would also help strengthen UNISA's ties with other universities on the continent. Management said chancellors fulfill a ceremonial yet strategic role at universities, but Mbeki said he would engage stakeholders and students on various issues that have plagued higher education. Now, UNISA has more than 330,000 students, with close to 35,000 obtaining degrees and diplomas annually. And speaking after his inauguration, Mbeki repeated the sentiments expressed in his famous "I Am an African" speech, saying the continent needed educated people to improve its dismal socio-economic conditions. More research would need to be done to find African solutions to the continent's myriad problems. Mbeki said he also spoke out quite rigorously against the spate of xenophobic attacks last week, pointing to the need to work together to build the continent. And that is the end of my news segment for the day.
Have you ever thought about the power of social media? Social media has the power to make your business grow. Yeah. Why don't you let us manage your social media? Because our business is to see your business grow. Visit us at www.bstownmedia.co.za.
The issue of cyberbullying has plagued a lot of young children, young girls, young boys in South Africa and around the world, more especially I think around the world, because as technology advances, it starts off obviously in developed countries and then moves on to us developing countries, and once it gets here, the issues are the same. I think the issues don't necessarily change, and cyberbullying has had a really bad effect, or rather a devastating effect on the rates of suicide in young children from 13 upwards. It's been quite crazy to hear all the stories and hear all the mothers who have lost their children to people they've never seen, to people that they probably will never see, and some of them have no real remorse on what they're actually doing. So cyberbullying has been one of the biggest issues. It's very difficult to locate, very difficult to actually find out how to actually prevent. But today on the show, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what it is. If you don't know, if you're a parent or you are a guardian of a few children, and they're always on their phones and they're always on the internet, which is what we do nowadays. But if you don't know what could be potentially going on your child's Facebook page, on your child's Twitter page, Instagram page, I'll just let you know a little bit about a few examples that have happened regarding to cyberbullying. But more than that, just tell you what it is, and maybe give you a few preventative measures. I don't think enough is being done, especially in the non-profit sector, about cyberbullying. I don't think a lot of CSI strategies are looking into cyberbullying and how to change it and how to reverse its effect. I think, again, because we are a developing country, it's quite far and few in between, but it doesn't change the fact that we are radically becoming digital. We are radically, enforcing digitalization within our schools, and that is where it all stems. And I mean, bullying is still a big issue in just normal bullying, child to child bullying, but cyberbullying is worse because you cannot locate it, you cannot stop it, and it is continuous and has no end. It has no end because people can say or feel like they can say and do whatever they want to do when they're on line. Now, cyberbullying is bullying, as I said, that takes place using electronic technology. Now, electronic technology includes devices and equipment such as cell phones, computers, and tablets, as well as communication tools like social media sites, text messages, chat, and websites. Examples of cyberbullying include mean text messages or email, rumors sent by email or posted on social networking sites, and embarrassing pictures, videos, websites, or fake profiles. Now, kids who are being bullied or cyberbullied rather are often bullied in person as well. Additionally, kids who are cyberbullied have a harder time getting away from the behavior. Now, there are a few facts that you don't know in case you didn't know much about the effects of cyberbullying. Remember that cyberbullying can happen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and reach a kid even if he or she is alone. It can happen any time of day or night. There's no real limitations when it comes to cyberbullying. The only limitation may be data. So maybe that's the issue. Maybe we need to limit the data, but still, the second the data comes in, the child or whoever's on the other side of the telephone is a victim, can be a victim to somebody who's posting really mean text and messages about them. So it can happen anytime, anywhere, at any location. It does not have a filter. Cyberbullying messages and images can be posted anonymously and distributed quickly to a very wide audience. Remember, the beautiful and deadly thing about social media and technology is that it is a mass communicator. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you pulled down something, you deleted it, or you put it up and you deleted it. If somebody grabs a hold of it, it can go viral within hours. We've seen it in rumors about celebrities. We see it in people who can sing and people who have extraordinary talents where their videos will go viral, and that's because technology gives you that tool to actually really reach a large audience at a very, very fast speed. Also, deleting inappropriate or harassing messages, texts, and pictures is extremely difficult after they've been posted. And that's what I just said now. It's very difficult to take back what you did. It's very difficult to take back a mean text if it has been screenshotted, if it has been recorded, if it has been, it's a video. Videos are super, super difficult to take away. In fact, one of the things I saw this past weekend, a little bit off the side, is the videos which were being circulated around xenophobia and what's happening in South Africa right now. And when I watched them, they were gruesome, they were crazy, and I was like, this is horrible. I can't believe these are the kinds of things that are being sent to different places and different countries and different people, and it's just swaying their ideas, and it's a very violent conversation people are having. But what I looked at mostly was how old those videos were. Those videos were not even of this time. Those videos were back in 2007, 2008, and when I saw that people could still regurgitate and work out different messages using old videos. And remember, people usually don't check authenticity as to who sent it and when was it, and is it relevant and is it true. People watch the video, they get emotional, and then they act. And that's the power of social media. That's the power of the digital age, is the fact that you can use any kind of video and swerve it to portray whatever message you wanted to portray, even if it wasn't meant for that. So effects of cyberbullying, just going back to cyberbullying, is that cell phones and computers themselves are not to blame. I don't think we can blame technology. Of course, I'm saying that it has the capacity and has the tools to make it a mass communicated message, even if it's a horrible message. However, remember, it's not like the computer is typing its own messages. Someone is behind it. Somebody is saying something. Somebody is coming up with that meme that went too far, that video that is swearing at everybody, that video that just shows the ugliness of some young children, young girls are saying really mean things to other young girls. Remember, the idea of Mean Girls doesn't just stem from a movie we watched like a while ago. It is a phenomenon all over the world. Mean girls, mean boys, and now they have a tool that will, can be used to hurt other people. And whether it's done in person or through technology, the effects of bullying are all similar. Kids who are cyberbullied are more likely, this is according to a few stats that I read up on, to use alcohol and drugs. They will skip school. They also experience in-person bullying, as I said before, and they're unwilling to attend school. they receive poor grades, have low self-esteem, and have more health problems, because usually you're being bullied for how you look. Usually you're being bullied for your... It could be something as simple as you dating someone after, and I'll talk about it a little bit later. You dating someone who, has a very, crazy ex-girlfriend. It could be as hard as simple as somebody who thinks, you get better marks than them, and they don't want you to be better than them. It could be as simple as someone who's being bullied at home and who is taking those same sentiments and the same sort of, not sentiments, rather the same experiences and, showing them at school. It could be on that psychological level as well. So we don't really want to put emphasis on kids being mean, or kids are mean, but also we have to be very aware of the kind of homes they're coming from, the kinds of things they're seeing, the kinds of things they're going through. I know a lot of people have gone through a lot of things at home, and when they get to school, they feel as though they need to voice or need to show someone that they still have power, that they're still meaningful, and then they do that in horrible ways because they're just sort of reacting to whatever's happening at home. So bullying is such a big issue. However, cyberbullying is much bigger because it's a matter of perception. And remember, children, kids, teenagers, even young people my age, people in their 20s, are so influenced by what other people say. We're all influenced by what other people say, and it's even worse when millions of them are saying it on Twitter, when millions of people are hashtagging something that's mean, and millions of people are talking about something that is horrible. So we have to be very, very, very smart, and we have to think about the things we write, because a lot of the time you write something and you don't even think about it twice, but it's gone. It's on a site, it's on someone's Facebook page, and you maybe didn't mean it, and maybe you were saying it in anger. So you need to be smart and to be aware and to be responsible about the things that you post. You have to be responsible about things that you post, and I don't think that is being preached enough. So it's very important that we start talking about cyberbullying as an issue in South Africa. There's been so many examples in South Africa and all around the world, and I'm just going to give you one example of actually one of a kind of a story that came out with something a little bit positive. Now in 2007, in December, the Tina Meyer actually founded a non-profit called Megan Meyer Foundation. Now, the non-profit was named in honor of Tina's 13-year-old daughter, who hanged herself in a bedroom closet in October 2006. Now, Megan struggled with attention deficit disorder and depression, in addition to issues with her weight. And about 5 weeks before her death, a 16-year-old boy named Josh Evans asked Megan to be his friends on a social networking website, which at the time is called MySpace. I don't think MySpace actually made it to South Africa, and if it did, it didn't do well. But I remember MySpace being a craze in the States. A lot of people like on MySpace and talking on MySpace, but I don't think it ever really made its way to these shores. But either way, it's just like Facebook, very, very similar to Facebook, if you didn't know. Anyway, the two began communicating online regularly, and although they never met in person or spoke on the phone, Megan and Josh had quite a relationship. But things changed, and mid-October, Josh began saying he didn't want to be friends anymore, and the messages became more cruel in October 16, 2006. When Josh concluded by telling Megan the world would be a better place without you. Now, the cyberbullying escalated when additional classmates and friends on MySpace began writing disturbing messages and bulletins. Now, Tina said on the foundation website that it was about 20 minutes after Megan went to her room after leaving her computer that the mother found that her daughter had hanged herself in a bedroom closet. Megan died the following day, and 3 weeks before what could have been her 14th birthday. Now, according to Associated Press, it was later found that, I think a neighbor had told Megan's parents that Josh was not a real person. Instead, it was an account that was created by another neighbor, Laurie Drew, her 18-year-old temporary employee, Ashley Grills, and Drew's teenage daughter, who used to be friends with Megan. And 1 year later, the case began receiving national attention. While the country prosecutor declined to file any criminal charges in the case, federal prosecutor charged her with 1 count of conspiracy and 3 violations of Computer Fraud and Abuse Act for accessing protected computers without authorization. Now, here's an issue. A lot of legislation has neglected to include what would happen if somebody cyberbullied somebody else and they died, or they committed suicide. Of course, committing suicide is an act that it's a difficult act to actually pinpoint, because who can say it was the bullying or it was the issues that Megan already had, and the bullying sort of escalated it. But at the end of the day, after she finished, on her computer typing and reading all these messages from all these bullies, she went upstairs. That was the trigger that made her go upstairs and hang herself. And a lot of people have been really, scientists, legal advisors are really struggling to find the right way to punish people who have come up with, fake identities, fake profiles on social media to bully other people. It's such a weird space. There's such a thin line, and I think a lot of people have been struggling to find the right way to talk about it, the right way to persecute the people who are involved, the right way to prevent it, and it's growing in a crazy way, and the more people don't have anything to say about it, the more it's going to carry on. Another story on cyberbullying saw an 18-year-old student who sent nude photo of herself to a boyfriend, and that photo was sent to hundreds of teenagers in at least 7 schools. And according to the University of Alabama cyberbullying website, the cyberbullying continued through Facebook, MySpace, and text messages. And then Jessica Logan, who is the 18-year-old, hanged herself after attending the funeral of another boy who had committed suicide. So we cannot ignore the fact that cyberbullying is a real threat to people's lives. It's a real threat to little children who are being bullied every single day. I know I watched a show called Catfish, and the things that I've seen on Catfish, and I don't know if you guys have seen it, it's crazy how many people want to affect or can affect people's lives through Facebook, through Twitter, through all these social mediums, and it is horrendous the kinds of thing that they say. It's horrendous how these messages can be received and how they can influence a person taking their own lives. So it's very important that we start speaking about cyberbullying and the NPOs and the NGOs in the space, especially in South Africa. What can be done? What can we do to prevent our country going the same way as America, as the developed countries? Because of course we have bullying, of course we have crazy, I've seen so many videos on my Facebook page where I've seen girls from South Africa really just being really mean and nasty to other girls. And we have an issue that's going to be rising in the next couple of years. How are we going to change the face of cyberbullying in South Africa? How are we going to prevent young people from killing themselves, from getting emotional, mental disorders, not finishing schools, being dependent on alcohol and drugs? How is the NPO and NGO sector receiving it, and how is CSI and CSR strategies going to incorporate the effects of cyberbullying so that we don't have an issue as big as America does, and I know a lot of Europeans are going through. So we need to start looking at it in a very constructive way, and in a way that's going to help South Africa become a country that doesn't, on top of all the other problems that we have and the problems we're trying to fix, that we don't necessarily tick off cyberbullying as one of the biggest issues in our country. And if you have any stories you want to share, any NGOs that you want to start, any new bright ideas to combat cyberbullying in South Africa or Africa, please don't forget my social media handle is View for Real on Twitter. And also you can go to Social One TV for Social TV if you want to find out a little bit more. And if you want to comment on today's show, I'll gladly interact with you on my own personal Twitter handle, and I will, sort of help support or engage you further. And maybe you can be on the show to tell me what you think can be done to change cyberbullying. That was Viwe. I like speaking in third person because it makes me feel important. But that was all for today's show. Thank you so much for listening. We will be back again tomorrow.
More than 8.1 billion rand was invested in CSI initiatives in the year 2015. Initiatives that want to save our planet, lift people out of poverty, and advance economic inclusion. Join me, Viwe Cholwana, as I unpack the projects that are aiming to move South Africa forward every week from 4 to 5 p.m. on The Social Show. brandlive.co.za, harnessing the power of talk radio.
You're listening to brandlive.co.za, an industry first in the world of internet radio. Not only are we an internet radio station, we are an internet radio platform for your brand. So why not expose your brand to potentially thousands of listeners and improve your customer relationships and brand equity with podcasts and live broadcasts? Be sure to check brandlive.co.za for more information. brandlive.co.za, harnessing the power of internet radio.